welcome to the very first episode of this podcast. My name is Laufey, this is The Rub, and I'm in business of pleasure. First, I need to introduce myself and The Rub. I'm Brazilian, I'm in my 20s, I'm in love with culture and art and history. I'm addicted to any kind of entertainment, mostly TV shows. I graduated in politics, also studied initial education, and now I'm a major in arts. I have managed to collect more than 1,000 watch shows, and that is only the ones I remembered to count and write it down. So if you need a pro opinion in TV, I'm your girl. I'm actually a nerd, if I have to be honest with you guys. I love books and movies and TV shows, animes and mangas. I am not a great gamer, but I have fun watching other players. I love studying, I love creating and producing art. I write, I sing, I play, and I paint. My favorite food is sushi, and I listen to a lot of different genres of music. I'm a cat person, I have 2 girl cats, and a plant lover. I'm Christian and Buddhist. I have 15 tattoos, spread it all over my body. I'm red hair and I'm freckled. Now, The Rub, I created because I always had the urge to talk about my different experiences I had in life, but I never could. I always kept everything as a secret, and literally nobody knows about this. I'm kind of like Batman of sex. By day, I'm just one of many dork girls studying all day, wearing my big glasses and listening to lo-fi while taking care of the house and family, my cats, participating in church affairs and interests, volunteering, going to mass every Sunday, praying the rosary every day. But by night, I'm a very horny, sexy, powerful, and semi-nude sex worker, and I can't hide that anymore. I mean, I can, and I still will. I have to. But I found a way, finally, to talk about it. This is why I created this podcast, so I can reach out people that are interested in this subject, and I can, take this, get it out of me. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, I just created this channel, so make sure to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and activate notifications to know when new episodes come out. It's gonna help me a lot. And other podcasting platforms, please follow us there too. For more interactions, chatting, and bonding with me, I recommend you to follow me on Patreon. I'm not yet sure I'm gonna create a Twitter. I think not, because I don't really like social medias, but I created a Patreon so I can not only have patrons and people who are interested in this subject and want to help me out, but also for the community and be able to actually talk with you guys. So I'm gonna try to separate my personal life from sexy Batman, and just for my safety. So as I was writing the script for this episode, I was thinking of going by the first letter of my real name, but like I said, I wanted to separate things online, and I needed an alter sexy ego. I needed to be something intriguing and sexy and fun. So I chose Laufey. But why? Well, for so many reasons. First of all, Loki is the god of mischief. He can transform himself into anything or anyone and still be himself on the inside. Like, I kind of can relate to that. Second of all, he's my favorite hero/villain in the Marvel Universe and my favorite character in Nordic mythology. He's son of Laufey, and that is why I chose the Laufey name. I also am in love with the actor that portrays his male self in the movies and shows, Tom Hiddleston. Also, he's ginger and freckled like me, so we fireheads gotta stick together, right? So yeah, there you go. I think I was able to introduce myself a little bit, but not yet everything. So what is The Rub? What does it mean? Why am I in business of pleasure? Well, there's plenty of time for me to explain that, but I'll start. A few years ago, I just finished high school. I was in my first year of college. I was just starting my life. I had dreams and plans and projects that I wanted to conquer and achieve. I wanted to become a woman and work for the first time in my life and have a happy and healthy, wealthy life. And that is why I wanted to move to America. I was always in love with the States. I grew up already speaking English. I was always in love with the culture and the language. That is why I got addicted to TV shows, because that's how I learned what is the United States and why I love it. I come from a third world country, and even though we like to think and portray ourselves to the world as a first world, that is all a lie. It is just a facade, because we're embarrassed of so many things that I won't get into that right now. But still, it is important for me to say that we're poor and we don't have enough opportunities in life and easiness to have good things. We're basically living to work. Everything is incredibly expensive. The minimum wage can't even pay half of a rent. Imagine if you have children or parents to care for. Imagine if anyone in your family gets sick. Imagine if the buses are on strike and you need an Uber to go to work. That is only if you have a job, because most of us don't. Our government doesn't care for us, and all the politicians are corrupted. Our very own president at the moment, it's a Nazi, fascist son of a bitch, a genocide that we have tried to file more than 50 impeachments already, with a list of endless proofs of endless crimes that he and his family commits. And still, they are all archived. We go to streets every day. We scream the word genocide through our cars, through our house windows, through any microphone on anywhere that we can find. So you can understand now why there are so many Brazilians leaving the country and going for anywhere else. We're looking for respect, for peace, for quality of life, for civil rights, not for money. That is why I escaped. I wanted a better life for me. I always wanted to be a wife and a mom, and even the thought of having children in this shitty-ass country kills me till this day. There is no security, no health, no education, no future. I didn't want that for myself and for my future kids. I wanted to be able to give back everything my mom ever did to me. She worked 3 jobs as a single mom to give me the best schools, best food, best doctors. So I saved enough money, applied for the necessary documents, and 1 year after the end of high school, which is only 3 years in Brazil, by the way. I say this because in US I believe it's 4, right? So anyways, I left my family, my friends, and entire life to start another one. I was always, like I said, in love with the US, and I already felt like an American in my heart. So there you go. I was 18 years old, fresh in the United States. I was young and innocent and hopeful. I remember I only took like $900 with me. I never really felt a lot of cold in life because Brazil is sunny and hot and dry all year round, unless you're in the south. It'll be a little bit more chilly there. But I'm from a very hot and dry state. I came in the US, it was winter, and I had to already spend money on winter clothes, cell phone carrier, rent, going after documents. But I was already living things I never did in Brazil and still never will. In 2 weeks, I was able to get a job as a nanny to a very nice family. I used their second car in the beginning for about 2 months. And in that time, I saved enough money to actually buy my first car in my life. In Brazil, I never even had money to public transportations. The bus ticket is getting more and more expensive every year. We go on strikes, we make noise, we don't go to work. The drivers either. And see, 2 months in America, and I already had a car, a house, friends, a good phone, good clothes, and health. I was in heaven, sending money to my family, to my mom, and keep in mind that Brazilian currency right now is 5 times the dollar. So you see that if I send $300 to Brazil, that is already $1,500. That helped a lot when my mom needed some help with her health and needed to do some surgeries. And I was in ecstasy. I had everything I ever dreamed and so much more. So fast forward a little bit, because I stayed happy like that for a while. I was making more money. I was a nanny to 2 families now and babysitting when I could. I moved to a better place, changed to a better car. I was traveling, but then something really bad happened to me. I started having panic attacks. At first it was mild, but I didn't even know what those were. I just felt bad all the time and anxious. I was sad and I felt lonely and I couldn't see straight. My chest would burn and ache, and they started getting worse and worse. And this one night, I remember I just broke. I was having really scary thoughts. I don't want to be really specific and too much into detail today, but I still want to also talk about anxiety and depression later. So I got into a hospital and they admitted me. They took my phone and I was there for 2 weeks. I literally disappeared from the entire world and nobody knew what happened to me. I haven't talked to anybody. My roommates were worried. My family in Brazil couldn't get in touch with me either. And the hospital treated us patients that were considered with mental and narcotics problems like garbage. After a few days, I was able to befriend a very nice nurse. She was an immigrant too, and she kind of felt my pain when I explained to her what happened to me. So I asked my phone for just 5 minutes, just to talk to my bosses and my mom and my roommates to let them know what happened to me. I had more than 500 texts and 100 calls. I texted very quickly my family and friends and my bosses and didn't even read the messages. I gave my phone back and I just said, hey, I'm in the hospital. They took my phone. I can't really talk. I know that you are all like worried about me. Don't be, it's fine. I'll be leaving in a couple of days and I'll talk to you better, right? So after 1 more week there, I finally got out. I got my phone, ate some Mexican food in the way and went home. My roommates were so happy I was back. I called my mom and explained everything that had happened. I talked to my bosses and I chose to went with the truth. I could have lied. I could have said anything else. I could have said I had a family emergency or I lost my car, that I had the flu, anything. But I told them I was at the hospital for panic attacks that I had and that I was fine now and I could finally go back to work. But the damage was done. The parents didn't want me to take care of their kids anymore, which is understandable. I don't hold any anger. If it was me, I would be worried too. So I was fine financially for a few months with my savings, but I had car payments and rent and a lot of other bills. In a couple of months, my savings were just running out. I couldn't pay for my apartment anymore. I had to move. My car broke down and I couldn't fix it and still pay for the payments and the insurance. I was losing everything. I started sleeping in a friend's couch for a while I looked for other jobs, but it was fall and I could only find babysitting gigs. And families already had their nannies or daycare in that time of the year. And it started to get impossible to get hired. I would have to wait for spring to get a full-time or even part-time nanny. So there I was, sleeping in some friend's couch, still recovering mentally and emotionally from my panic attacks and what happened to me. I got depressed because I wasn't working. I just felt bad. I couldn't find a job, and I was looking online for jobs on Craigslist and other sites. I remember I found the Backpage website, and looking for jobs, they had these ads, right, saying like, want to make 500 a day or 1,000 a week, or work your own hours, get your life together, get independent, pay your bills, stuff like that. And I was intrigued. Who would get 300 or 500 a day? Who wouldn't be interested, right? I clicked on the ad and I saw it right there. Work as a massagist, no experience needed. And they were going into more details, and I realized what it was. It was a massage with a happy ending. I remember actually that the first ad I saw that was like, I got in touch with them, it was for a sexy maid to clean and organize guys' houses, but wearing sexy clothes, like fantasy for men, right? And I kind of got interested because of the fact that it would not have contact with the men. I would just clean or cook. It wouldn't be even like 100% perfect. It's just like a fantasy of the guys seeing me there wearing some kind of clothes and cooking for them. And anyway, I would get paid and get out. But what about the dangers? What if the client was a rapist or a killer? What security would I have? What if it was just an asshole? I don't know. I didn't want to go through that. I'd be getting into unknown men houses, and I couldn't tell anyone about it. If I needed help, if I needed someone to pick me up, to tell them where I am, because this is not something that you tell people that you do. So I decided to talk more of the people responsible for the second ad I seen. I thought that it would be like a place with other people, like just a spa, right? So I talked to the responsible for the sensual massagist ad with no experience needed, and I had no experience. I thought that it would be safer, that would have a physical place to work at, other girls working with me, cameras and parking lot, and things like that. The bosses were really careful about the legality of the stuff, and also they would care for us. So I made an appointment with the man that was hiring. He already introduced me to the place and to the other girls working there. He explained how everything worked, how much the house takes, the security, everything. I remember I was so scared. I didn't want to touch any weirdos' penises. The guy left, and there I was at this simple but nice apartment with 2 other girls. And talking to them, they were saying they made like 300 to even 1,000 a day. And that to me was wild. My head was blown. I could already see myself with that much money. Imagine all I could do, the life I could have, the money I'd send back to my family. But I had to be brave and lose my fear and my shyness and do this. So in my first sessions, I was actually doing a forehand with one of the other girls, so I could actually see what happens, what I need to learn, how does a session go, and all that. And in my first day, I made like 200 with these forehands, and that was my money because I gave the house its share and the other girls. And it was the beginning of something beautiful. I don't even know how to describe it. Like more ahead of that, I was making so much more money weekly, and that is because I was shy and I had boundaries. I wouldn't do what other girls that worked with me would do. There was one girl, for example, she would make like 5K a day, but our boss at the time told me she was a workaholic and she would work day and night. She was hardcore, had dozens of clients a day, in and out. She was ruthless. I was even scared of her, but I envied her. She was amazing. I never did a forehand with her to actually know what her sessions would be like, but I was pretty sure she would do more than just a massage and a happy ending. I worked with countless girls, a lot of different places and different bosses. I regret leaving a lot of them because most of them were pretty nice and sweet, caring bosses. They would help us with so many things. There is a lot a girl working with body rubs doesn't do when you have someone to agent you. I believe that we actually do the easy work. Every time I tried to go independent and do everything myself, I would go through so much annoying shit and regret it. So I tried to come back to some places, then got hungry again because I didn't want to share the money, so I'd go alone again. All I know now, looking back, is that I should have stayed instead of getting greedy and trying to be independent. After I figured out how to give a nice and sensual massage and lose my fear and not be shy anymore and giving pleasure with happy endings to men, it got easier and everything was nice again in life. I will admit there were some times I did more than happy endings, but I only felt comfortable doing more when I actually felt a connection with the client, like it or not. God made me a demisexual, so it was hard sometimes, and I also didn't feel right most of the time to ask for more money when I did more, which was the right thing to do. That's how girls would make more money than the others. I literally would do it for the pleasure, and I lost a lot of money doing that, but I was fine with that. There were so many clients I hated. There were some I would say no to, but most of them, they were pretty nice. They were respectful and chill, and I didn't have enough reasons to ever quit my job. Eventually, I didn't do it anymore, but not because I didn't love what I did, more because other stuff in life happened. There's so much to tell. There's so much to talk about. And I want to get into my sessions with my clients and the life and the money and everything, the sordid and sexy stuff, the ugly, the bad, the truth, but the amazing life I led as a sex worker. So if you've been with me till this point, I would like to thank you so much. I want to give you a promise right here and right now that in this first episode that I'm going to give you a lot of fun and sexy stories. You will be very entertained, that I know. I don't know yet what will be the routine of the rub, but all I know is that I'll figure everything out. I'm thinking like an episode per week, and I'll pick a day. If you're hearing this, probably there is already a Twitter account or the Patreon for us to chat. If you want to support this little project of mine, go be a patron of mine in Patreon. There will be some very interesting entertainment there, photos and videos and other stuff. So stay tuned. Remember to give a like and follow the rub to hear more from me. If you have any questions, anything that you would like to know, or any critics and also suggestions, I would be so happy to have them. So be comfortable with that. That is it, I guess, for today. Just an introduction. I am Laufey. This is The Rub. I am in business of pleasure. Thank you and have a great day, you guys.